provider.
And I think that's what's interesting about the idea of materialism or the dangers of materialism is that when we begin to derive our value and our significance, and we begin to say that we look at other people in terms of their value and their significance in terms of what they have, the stuff that they may accumulate in life, we really are living out a philosophy of materialism in our lives.
Yeah.
And what it does, it pushes aside all the things that God says about who He is, all the things that He says about what the world is supposed to be about, all the things He says about our value coming from being made in the image of God. I think of the people of Israel. They are fleeing Egypt, and as they're fleeing Egypt, they have Pharaoh, the Egyptians, pursuing them, and God comes and gives them the creation account, kind of reminding them, you may not have much, you may be dirt poor in one sense as you proceed down leaving Egypt, but don't forget the God that you worship made all these things, and the God that you worship made the things that the Egyptians worship, and the God that you worship looks at you and says, you are valuable, you are significant. Not only was Pharaoh made in the image of God, because that was their teaching in Egypt, but you yourself are made in the image of God. And I think materialism crowds out that. I mean, it begins to define life by what a person has begun to accumulate in life. Now, one of the things that scares me is how much we no longer, it seems or appears, to address this topic in the church. Some would say we even promote that godliness and the gathering of stuff is an evidence of blessing, and I think we'd be careful how we talk about that, because we do see some of that. But basically, trying to communicate that the two go together, and we've kind of found a way to coexist with a materialistic mindset in the church. And as you look at the church, what do you see? I mean, the church in general, in terms of materialism and how that interacts.
I think, I think you said it. I think we have to be wary when we're talking about this, because it's kind of a gray line. But churches, I think that I'm afraid to say the church as a whole, but I think churches,
just generically,
right.
Yeah.
The churches, in my view, typically do promote materialism. I've seen it happen all over the place. Churches that are not necessarily out to help the world or to love the world, but out to buy the new projector, the new guitars and the new thing, so that we can somehow be more godly, have some more of a godly presence, and I just think it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah,
extremely dangerous, and I don't think it's being talked about nearly enough. I think it's only complicating the church. We as a leadership team are right now reading a book called Simple Church, and it has a lot to say about that, about how some of these materialistic actions that churches are performing are only perpetuating this problem. And so,
and it's hard because it's so ingrained in the American mindset, in the American culture. This is how we express, how our dominance or our power or our influence in the world, all the things that we think are important or significant. And so I think it's scary. I mean, it's kind of scary in terms of what that looks like in the church.
Yeah, and I think one important distinction to make is that having is not bad. It's not a. I don't think God looks down upon those who have. Wealth is not bad. I think it's just the mindset behind it. It's whether or not your possessions are controlling you, or whether you are thanking God for your possessions as gifts.
And that really goes back to just this idea of stewardship that we supposedly teach, but maybe don't live. That God holds us not accountable for what we have, but accountable for what we did with what we were given.
Right.
And this idea that everything in life, and I think that's one of the things we struggle with, and one of the things that feeds us, regrettably, is we believe we actually have earned, or we have accomplished, or we have been responsible for the gathering of our blessings, and so we do put our ownership upon those things, rather than saying, these are really, I'm a steward, I'm a manager, I'm nothing more than someone God's entrusted this thing in.
Right.
You know, like he said to Abraham, I'm blessing you to be a blessing.
Right.
And if we lose that mindset, I think we find ourselves really gathering stuff together. I think the other part too is, I think we have a lot of fear in America about retirement. We have a lot of fear about how much we think we need to be happy. This idea that we're going to reach a point in life where we check out.
Yeah.
And that life will be characterized by leisure, and life will be characterized by having no responsibility, not only in reference to a job, but in reference to people, in reference to church, in reference to community. You know, it seems like Americans work for this period after 65, when we supposedly take all the things that we have and now we get to enjoy those things, and selfishly maybe even indulge ourselves in those things. That can be kind of a scary topic.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not retired, so I have no honest perspective at 41. He has zero perspective at 19, right?
Zero.
Well, we're going to continue this discussion throughout our series this month, but we would love to hear some of your comments back, so please feel free to write a couple thoughts that you had. Maybe we said something incorrect. Is there a chance? Is there a chance we said anything offensive?
We'll see.
You'll never know. We'd love to hear it, though, so just send us a note back. All right? We'll see you later. Hope to see you Sunday. Bye-bye.
Yeah.